everyone, Julian here today. I'm really excited to be showing you how to make a full KLANGKUENSTLER style techno track from scratch. We're going to be talking about every single element and the whole arrangement. It's actually not as hard as you would think, but this video is going to break down everything you need to know. To go along with this video, I've got this full track template available at the top of the description on my website. The full Ableton files, samples, MIDI, and the presets are all available right there. It's a really accessible price, and you get a really high quality full track template. You can literally grab this right now and make your own track out of it. Even just release it as it is, as your own track. I don't even care at this point. But yeah, this is available at the top of the description. Again, this really is something you can grab right now, and I promise you'll make better tracks today. If you've been struggling, or if you just need some new inspiration, this is exactly what you need. Go ahead and grab it before you do anything else. Link is at the top of the description. Thanks for the support, everybody. Enjoy, and let's dive in. Alright, so the first thing that we have will be the drums. And when you listen to the whole track, you can hear this is a lot of what's going on. It's really just in that drum mix. So I try to nail that down first. And it always starts with the kick. So we're at 143 BPM. We got this rumble kick here. So we have our main punch layer. Right? Just this nice punchy kick. This is one that I've made. We have our rumble. So the way we're doing this is we're actually using another kick. And what's happening here is it's doing 16th notes. I have it playing the same MIDI as the main kick. And then I have an arpeggiator here. And you can see I dragged the start time forward because if you listen, see how it's a bit deeper and bassier there? So you get the 16th notes and then you have that like that. I'm low passing it. And then we got some reverb, amp, to make it nice and rumbly, low pass. And then we're converting it to mono and side chaining it. And then the last layer, so you have those two, which is most of what you're hearing, but you need this one last layer. So you hear how this is almost just like this mid-range percussion? So yeah, you need one of those as well. I've noticed this in a lot of these kinds of tracks, and it just fills that out and gives you that extra little bit of kind of texture in the rumble. So it's actually the same thing as what you just saw, that 16th note arpeggiator with the kick dragged over. But then this one, we've got a little bit of delay, this amp, and auto filter. Right, so that's on the bandpass, and it's got an 8th note LFO going, boom, 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 boom. Converting it to mono, and then we're side chaining it. And again, that's just going to add that last bit of rhythm and texture. Then we have a subcut on the whole group, and then we're converting it to mono after that. A little bit of a limiter to kind of glue all the layers together. And then I also have this high pass filter, which comes on throughout the track. And you can see it just kind of transitions things, you know, at the end. It goes up. It's a nice way to add some variation to the track. Other than that, the kick pretty much plays the whole way through. I do have a few little cutouts though. I think it's important to have a few of those. So then we have the main hi-hat. It's pretty simple. It's just a layer. So we've got this big fat 909 hat, but then we've also got this nice one which has a lot of kind of sizzle and punch in the highs to it. So you put those together, and there you go. You get this really fat full hi-hat. You really don't need any processing. Actually, there's no processing. This reverb is just a little automation at the start. And then we have the snare. So the way we make this is it's taking a clap, like a standard 909 or 808 clap, and then you distort it into reverb. And then distortion again after the reverb. And then you get that, the clap kind of turns into a snare so it hits well. You get that good boom, boom, between the kick and the snare. And then we have the ride. This plays a lot in these tracks. I'm just using this new ride sample I made. It's going through a little bit of chorus, and then it's being side chained, and yeah, that just sits well with the rest of the drums. Then we have the percussion. So it starts here with these rave loops. We got like this one. And this one. Right, a bit of loops you can hear really adds energy. Right? But then we also have some stuff that's not loops. Like we have this hi-hat. Just 16th notes. And we have this little drum rack. So what's happening here is this drum rack I grabbed from the sidebar in Ableton. Right, creating some percussion. I've got to go into a bit of delay, a high pass with an LFO on it, quarter notes. Kind of giving it some movement, a bit of distortion. Another high pass because the distortion adds a bit of low end, and then side chain. You hear it creates some nice atmospheric percussion. Then on the group, we're just cutting out a bit of lows, and also this has a bit of automation to cut out the like a low pass. At the end of that break there, as you can see, to transition it, and then we're side chaining it. And that's really all the drums. So the drums take up a lot of the track. There's not actually that many drums, right? It's just a few sounds that are really big and full that come in and out throughout the track. You can see with the percussion, you know, you're able to build a lot of arrangement just out of having those different elements kind of like appear and disappear at the end here. And yeah, then we have the first synth. So this is playing this melody. So we're in C minor. What we're doing is it's 3 notes, right? It's not that many notes, but it creates a catchy melody by not having too much that is throwing at you at once. So what we're doing here is we're in C minor. We're using the root note, the 5th, and the 6th, and just creating this. It's just a nice, catchy 8th note rhythm that fits well over the drums. This is this wavetable patch. We've got this Bitten filter with the Auro Lean. It's under the collection there. And you can see I have an envelope on the wavetable position of each of those. So it's a great way to use wavetables to kind of create a more interesting lead, right? If you just use basic saw waves and square waves for all your leads, you end up with kind of like boring sounds. So this works well for that. We've got a bit of noise unison, some delay, some reverb. A high pass, as well as a high pass, which is just being automated in the break to make this disappear. And then we have a low pass, which also brings it in and out. You can see that's moving the whole time. And then we have a little side chain. Then we have that main respace. Musically, what we're doing here is we're going root note, 6th, minor 3rd. Right, and then over here, these top notes, so we're just going up an octave on the root note, and then this is just a 5th there. Like a nice steady chord progression so the lead can just drone. While this is changing and kind of keeping it exciting. And this plays almost the whole time, but you notice for a lot of the intro, it's just playing one note. We want to kind of like tease it. So I don't even have it play the pattern until the kick stops there, right? So we got that. The sound on this one is made with wavetable. What we're doing here is we got 2 layers in an instrument rack because it's basically just a respace, right? You can see it's a saw wave, a little bit of this menace wavetable with a little LFO on it, and then a bunch of unison. And then on the second one, it's the same thing. Well, this is the beige wavetable with an LFO on it and no unison because you have to apply unison to the whole thing with wavetable. So to get one layer not with unison and one layer with unison, you have to do it with the instrument rack. And this way you get a really full sound because you get that unison, but you also get the like fatness of the non-unison layer. And they create one really full thing. This is going to a little bit of amp. Here's without it. With it, you can hear it really brings it to life, gives it that mid-range that you want. We got a low-pass filter, which brings us in and also makes it kind of go and change throughout the track, right? It keeps this fresh and moving a lot. And then a high pass to make it fit with the kick, and then we just have it being sidechain. Then we have this little pad, which plays over top of that. You can hear they almost like create chords because these are like these almost like melody notes, which on their own sound a bit like random, but they fit. They're in the same key, obviously. Like we're using a minor third, the fourth, the fifth, and then a ninth. And when the melody note changes with the bass like that, it works really nicely. So then for the actual sound, this is made with wavetable. It's just a saw wave with a bunch of noise unison to get that like washed out kind of pad, almost like Viper Diva style, right? And then we got a low pass, which is making that disappear, and then it's just being sidechained. We have this other pad, which comes in at the end. It's a simple pad. It goes well with the respace. Right? So for the actual notes here, we're basically going between the C minor and then this D sharp major, right? It's a very simple thing if you look at the C minor scale. And then we're using this wavetable pad. It's the Sync Digital wavetable, so you get something a little bit different. Again, trying to steer away from just basic saw waves and square waves. A little bit of a low pass on it. Delay, reverb, high pass filter. A low pass which brings it in and out. So it kind of like disappears toward the end there. And then we have it being sidechained. And then we have the main lead. So what we're doing here is this is in C minor, like I said, and it's actually pretty basic voices. So like down here, for example, it's just root note, or it's just fifth and root note. Here then it goes up root note and fifth right there, right? So it's like the same voices starting it, just in different orders. A fourth, another fifth, another root note, a ninth, a minor third, and a fourth. So it's not that many voices out of the scale if you look at it. It's really just creating something a bit droning with that'll go well with the bass. Now, for the sound on this one, it's made with wavetable. Again, wavetable is really good for these sounds. We're using this basic shapes, but you can see it's a saw wave with the warp up. And then we've also got another regular saw wave. Then what we're doing here is we've got a little bit of this envelope too on this bandpass filter here. So you just get that little pluck, and then we have a noise unison, and then we're using the saturator. So here's without it. With it. You can hear it's just super crunching and distorting the sound, giving it a very cool and fresh texture. Using the wave shaper, we're using a bit of delay, a bit of reverb, which is automated at the end there to make that go away. A bit of overdrive, a high pass, and then it's being sidechained. And that's it for the lead. And then the only other thing we have down here is just all the little transition effects. These are a bunch of sounds from my Essential Track Effects packs. The link for those is probably in the description as well. I'm literally just using a bunch of these throughout the track to kind of just keep it exciting without using too many. It's not too obvious. It's not like EDM where it's do-do-do-do-do, like super obvious risers. It's just a few different little effects. And some key moments like that to make it work. We've also got like this wavetable. It's just like a super saw, you know, kind of creating that nice. And there we are. So that is how to make a full KLANGKUENSTLER style hard melodic techno track from scratch. Every element. If you follow this video, you should be able to do it. Thank you so much for the support, everybody. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can literally get this full finished track template, the project files, samples, MIDI, and the presets. It's all available at the top of the description on my website. It's a great value. You really will make the best tracks of your life if you grab this today. I'm not just making this up, guys. I've seen people do it. It can really help you get where you're trying to get. Don't miss out, guys. Link is at the top of the description while it's available. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.